Hello everyone and welcome back to 4KB Shorts Let's Play of Kerbal Space Program. It is time. It is time. If you all remember, the Laythe stand, which was sent to Laythe 4 years, 299 days ago, Kerbal time, has been stranded there ever since. It was stranded there because I, like a failing commander that I was, put down 6 solar panels on the command module. Without realizing it, the 6th solar panel blocks the exit door, and the Kerbals inside cannot get out. It is a sad day indeed. Well, I built the Rucksack, which you guys have seen. Tried to send it all the way to Laythe, did not make it. Unfortunately, made it to Dres, which was a pretty good feat considering all the places we stopped along the way. We will continue to use the Rucksack at a later date, but it has fulfilled its purpose up to and as far as it can go. But now it is time to rescue our dear friends on Laythe. And to do that, we're going to kind of head fake the game a little bit. I was told that you can edit the save file and delete specific parts. You can. I've seen it. I looked at the file, I've seen it, I found the part I need to delete. I know exactly where it's at. Not going to do it without a legitimate reason, like a legitimate excuse, like a legitimate, this is what would have happened. And for that, we're actually going to send, I, you, us, all of us are actually going to send a single Kerman, Kerbal, whichever you'd like to say, to Laythe. We're going to try to land this single Kerman on Laythe, near to the pod, the Laythe stand, so that he can carry along with him a crowbar. Yep, or bolt cutters, or a drill, or just a toolbox. And he's going to pry that plate off the door so that the Kerman inside, who have been living off the growing plants inside the plant bay, arboretum, whatever you want to call it, and have been living in there, trying, not being able to get out, only being able to see the sun and stuff through the compartment. They've never been able to walk on Laythe. No Kerman has ever walked on Laythe. We are going to send a single Kerman there to pry that thing off so they can get out. I know it sounds silly. It does. It sounds absolutely silly, but it is how I want to play the game. I don't want to edit files and be like, well, I could edit the files. Yes, I could. But I don't want to do that. So we are going to do this as best we can. I'm not entirely sure how we're going to do it off the top of my head, but it's going to start with this pod and this parachute. Now from there we will need probably something to slow us down, which means we need fuel. So we say what, teeny tiny fuel tank? But before that, why am I feeling this is wrong? This is wrong. This is where I want to be. Okay, here it is. Before that, we want this. And that one is an explosive separator, which is nice, but we can probably go with a normal separator instead. Well, they're about the same thickness, I guess, so that works. I guess that works. And then from there, we want an engine. And that's going to be our landing pod. Nothing special, nothing, fang-glorious, fantastic. It's just going to be that. But we are going to add a few features. What's this, you say? Well, we're going to Laythe, right? Might as well do something useful while we're there. So we're going to put on a few bits and bobs, including mech jeb. And guess we're going to need a couple solar panels, right? And for that, we're going to use the cheap solar panels, I think. It's going to be a budget mission, kind of. A dual budget mission. So this is going to be our pod that goes to Laythe. 2.52 tons. It's got 1,934 meters per second of burn. That's not a lot. Actually, that's not a lot at all in that. Can we make that better? Is there a better engine we can use? I mean, we could probably use the nuclear rocket. What does that do for us? That's, here. What does that do? That gives us more meters per second burn, but it also increases our weight. Surface is 1.43 versus 2.02, and the increase is what, by about 30? 2094 by 1934. So not a huge amount, and it's light enough to where if we're in orbit, hopefully this is what we'll get into orbit, so we will use that. Well, we have tiny engines, where large radial engines won't fit, although you may need more of them in larger payloads. Let's see what that does. Let's take a few. We're experimenting a little bit. We are taking this thing to Laythe, but let's go ahead and experiment. So 4 should fit. Okay, 4 does fit. That brings us up to 1519, but our thrust to weight ratio is 3.29. That's a lot. So we actually burn fuel faster, but we're more stable. Or like we have... I don't know. It's hard to tell. We push more against our ship. We'll go old school. Yeah, we'll go old school. I know old school. We want this thing to work, right? We absolutely want this thing to work. So that's going to be our pod that goes to Laythe. Now we got to build a rocket to get it to Laythe. That's going to be the fun part. That's absolutely going to be the fun part. Okay, once again, we want structure. This one I think I'll use an explosive bolt. I like the explosive bolts for this. Now, let's go ahead and name this, because we're going to have to name it something rescue-y. What is a rescue-y name, I guess? I mean, we could think of something for Joule or for Laythe. Everything sent to Laythe is Laythe something, Layther site, Laythe stand. Oh wow, it's really... There's really nothing we can name it for that can be Laythe but also be rescue, so we'd have to call it like, well, he's going there to pry something off. He's going there to repair the ship, to break them out. He's going to save them, not really repair, like not fix anything. He's actually going to break stuff in order to save them. It's a one-time use capsule, so... I am honestly at a loss as to what to name this right now, and how bad is that? No, that won't work. I was gonna call it the safety torch, but it's not really safety that we're going for. So, yeah, well, there's really nothing I can think of to call it off the top of my head, so we're just gonna leave that blank for now, I guess. We'll just call it, well, we have to call it something. Wow, I am totally drawing a blank. Well, we'll just call it the Savior 1. Unfortunately, no, I spelled that wrong. Excuse me. There we go, Savior 1. Because I can't think of anything else to call it. Wasted all that time, and I was just going to call it the Savior 1 because that's really what it's there for. If I think of something funnier along the way, we'll just rename it. But for now, it's called the Savior 1. Now, we had the hitchhiker. If you remember correctly, we had the hitchhiker, and the hitchhiker got us a long way, which is great. I'd like to rebuild the hitchhiker, so I'm taking a look at it really quick. Not much to it, right? Not much to it at all. It's 242.43 pounds. Excuse me, tons. 242.43 tons. I actually changed this design. These were brought... So this is not the hitchhiker I was looking for, unless I changed it and didn't save it, but I should have been able to save it. Yeah, well, that looks like it. I just changed it and didn't save it or didn't something, I'm not sure, but we'll go ahead and rebuild it. We'll rebuild it. So we're going for, once again, we're going for the Savior 1. That's the ship we want. And we're going to try to launch this as all one pod. I'm not going to try to launch this in pairs. There's really no reason to this time, I'm hoping. So, for this to work, we need this, and then we need one of these, and then we need one of these. Boink. That's that. Not a lot to jump up and down about, but there it is. I guess we also need one of these. Now I can alter this a little bit to go, you know, to correct for weight issues and things like that. But for the moment, I think this is what we're going to need. We don't really need a dock. Actually, we don't really need a dock. So I may not need all this RCS fuel. I'm building this like I'm going to be using it to dock with something, and I'm not. And if that's the case, we can lower our expectations a little bit. Okay, so let's do that. Let's lower our expectations a little bit. And let's put on some RCS thrusters. Okay. Put here and then down here, right? That's where I put them last time on the hitchhiker, and it worked really, really well. Won't be perfect, but that's okay. Now from there we want a nuclear rocket. If we try to go for a regular burn rocket, it will fail on us. We found that out when we did the Let's Learn with the Ant. The non-nuclear rocket really drains these tanks really bad. So there it is. That's going to be our get to Laythe. And you know what? I just remembered. I've had this mod for so long and I haven't used it even a little bit. We need... Ooh, okay. Oh. We need our protractor mod. Yup. Keep forgetting it. It'll help us out. It will help us out a lot, especially when getting to Laythe. And because it's the protractor mod, we're going to zoom way close in. And we're going... Oh, we only need one. We only need one protractor. And we're just going to go ahead and we're going to slap it right here, I think. It shouldn't be in the way. How terrible would it be if we got whoever's going to pilot this all the way to Laythe, tried to get him out, and it's like, you can't get out, something's in your way. And I'm like, oh my god, I taped my door shut. I taped my door shut. Solar panel's one thing, but to actually put tape over your door, oh, by the love of God. Yeah, that would be terrible. So, next, we're going to put another explosive bolt. So that's explosive bolt engine, explosive bolt engine, and we'll do that. Nope, wrong explosive bolt, wrong engine. There we go. Alright, perfect. Now, for here, we need... I mean, I can do the extra weight, I suppose. It's not too big a deal. We need to get into space. And that requires an asparagus system. Because I also need to see how much delta V and everything we have. That's 8. Right? Yeah, I think I only need 6. 6 should be sufficient. One would hope. Not 100%, one would hope. But 6 should be sufficient. Okay. That should be centered. Yes. And what does that get us for firepower? Ooh, look at that. 10,264 on that nuclear rocket. That is nice, isn't it? That is nice. Should get us to Laythe. Hope. Unless 3 is somehow... Nope. Nope, that is that big rocket right there. That's awesome. We may not even need that much fuel. But hey, we're heading towards Joule, and once you get into Joule's gravity, it yanks you around. So the more delta V you have, the better off you are. Okay, so this is the basis of our rocket. I will have to do an asparagus system to get us off the ground. I will also have to lock everything down so it doesn't flop around, but this is the basis for a rocket. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera for you guys, because it's a waste of time. For you, not for me. For me, it's very important, because this thing will flop around and fall down off the pad if we don't. Once that's done, we'll get out there on the launch pad and we'll take it off. I'm going to fly up into the wild blue black yonder, whatever you want to call it. And then we'll try to get to Laythe from there, so I will see you guys out there. Okay everyone, here we are on the launch pad. Everything's a little unstable, unfortunately. Dillis is a little bit nervous, so we're just going to go ahead and launch really quick. I was able to get our phase angle with Joule pretty close. I'm thinking that's what caused everything to become so utterly unstable. I'm not sure what else would have caused it, or what has caused my frame rate to go so low, but there it is. So we're going to go ahead and try our best to just get this thing into orbit in one piece, and then we'll see what happens from there. Apparently bad things happen. We're a little unstable. Let's find out why. Structure failure on linkage between Rockomax fuel tank and Rockomax fuel tank. Two of my fuel tanks collapsed on top of each other. We'll have to figure that out, so I'm going to head back inside and see if I can fix that. Alright everyone, I think I know what the problem is, but I am just going to have to hope that it doesn't occur again. Just have to see. It turns out that the Rockomax RCS fuel tank that I have attached does not like high impacts of any kind. And I guess that includes boosting or turning of a ship, which is a very scary thought when you think about it, but is not untrue. I've been having a lot of trouble with those Rockomax fuel tanks for a while. As you can see, so we're going to have to make some major design changes to get this thing to work properly. And once again, I will see you guys back out on the launch pad. Alright everyone, I just took the fuel tank off and all the RCS thrusters, so there are no more. If this thing continues to collapse in on itself, then we know that the issue is not with that RCS tank, even though that's what the machine has been telling us, is that our RCS tank keeps exploding. I'm hoping that's not the issue, or that was the issue, so that I don't have to go hunting for what the actual problem is. This design should work. We've launched similar devices in the past. I'm not sure why this one would suddenly stop working, but it is a possibility that that may be what it is. So it looks like, for now at least, that did solve our problem. How that's going to affect us later when it comes to actual maneuvering, I don't know exactly. We'll just have to figure that out as we progress. Alright, like I said, I don't know how this is going to affect our ship. Probably by a lot, because now I can't turn anymore. And yes, see, I turned on my RCS thrusters, but I don't have any. I had to take them off. They kept breaking, yeah. I think we can roll it over okay without too much difficulty. We just kind of have to fight it for the next minute or so. Get the protractor out of the way so we can see our ship location. So yeah, RCS tanks, they don't take a lot of impact well. I don't know why, but if you stick them on or near a high-powered rocket and then put them next to a decoupler of some kind, they tend to detonate. They tend to collapse. I don't know exactly why, but that is what they tend. No, I said it right the first time. I don't know why I thought I said it wrong. That's what they tend to do. Not sure why I said that wrong, or thought I said that wrong. It's really odd. Okay. So we're moving on up. We should have more than enough Delta V in this big engine to burn that, which is nice. It's a good start. A good start for the Savior 1. And we will begin our burn. Our burn towards greatness.